Hello everyone, my name is Sutton the Wolf, and welcome back to Grisaia no Kites, otherwise known as Fruit of Grisaia. It's been a while. I apologize for that. I have not been able to put out many videos of many games for a while, because I had a lot of moving stuff to deal with, plus I had a summer class over the summer, so... But things are slowing down a bit, so I should be able to get back into these kinds of things. This is the first week where I'm going to be having a full week of recorded videos in a long time, so I'm hoping that I can keep that pace going. I apologize for the long wait, but I hope that I can make it up to you guys. But regardless, we are getting back into this game. I absolutely adore it. I love the story, I love the characters. We even start out with my favorite, Michidu, right here. So let us get back into it. I do apologize. It probably will take me a little while to get the voices back. I kind of have to remember what voices I gave everyone, so that might be difficult. So, sorry. It's finally over. As soon as the lecturer leaves the classroom, Michidu slumps forward onto her desk. We've only gotten through 2 periods. Are you out of stamina already? I know. But when it's nothing but lectures, I always end up like this. I feel that. I have a rough time sitting through lectures, too. Hey, Sachi, my mechanical pencil's empty. Do you have any spare lead lying around? Yes, here you are. Ah, thanks! Yeah, this is the stuff. Very convenient for blocking x-rays. Shame about the poisoning and all. Wait, what? I'm sorry? What the heck? This is a lump of actual lead! Wait. I'm sorry? What? Am I being bullied here? Did Sachi finally get sick of lending me lead and erasers and stuff every single day? Aww. Could it be that she secretly hates my guts? That's quite the imaginative leap in logic there. Oi, Sachin! Hurry up and resolve the misunderstanding! Chidu-Chidu's gonna melt into a puddle! Please excuse me. Michidu-sama was asking for this instead, yes? Sachi hands Michidu a new lead for a mechanical pencil. Jeez, give me a break, Sachi. I was a teensy bit nervous there for a minute. God, I love these characters so much. I wish I had been able to keep up with this series a little bit more. I want to in the future now. You've got the heart of a flea. Excuse me? That's way too small. I've got the courage of your average fly at the very least. What a depressing excuse for a boast. Come up with something a little better than that. If you like, we could put your nerve to the test. No, that's quite alright. Thank you kindly. Way to prove her right. Nene, Sachin, give me a loser leaves. I assume that means loose leaf? A loose leaf notebook, is it? Here you are, Maki-chan. Grazie. Why are you acting Italian? That's enough, Makina. No running in the classroom. Buzzkill has arrived. I'll continue this later. In bed? What? I'm sorry? I'm willing to bet she saw some spy movie yesterday. Oh, this game always makes me so, like, light and fuzzy inside. But anyway, you've really got the works, Sachi. I might, but I'm not sure what kind of works you're referring to. What? Should we say something here? I wonder. You're a unique one. Thank you very much. Somehow that turned into a compliment. I know, right? Let's see. Do you have a chisel on hand as well? Yes. As soon as I requested, a chisel set emerges from the depths of her desk. Why? How about a heavy-duty stapler that can handle dozens of sheets of paper at once? Standing from her desk, Sachi walks off to face a large locker in the back of the classroom. What's with that locker? It's twice the size of the others. You mean Sachan's personal storehouse? Would this be what you were looking for? Within a few minutes, she finds the requested item and brings it to me. Normally, I'd expect to have to go to a stationery store to get something like this. Yuji, you seriously still not caught on? Huh? In this class, it's common knowledge that Sachi's better than a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, it seems like it. That is very impressive how she can basically acquire any item that I desire. Even a chisel. Why would I need a chisel? Are you saying her karate chop cuts sharper than a folding blade? No. It means that Sachan's unbelievably versatile and resourceful. I see. Well, considering her apparent skill and devotion, I suppose she's well prepared to deal with most requests. That proverb has a bit of a story behind it. I assume she's talking about the Sachi and Swiss Army knife thing. It was a blistering summer day. The classroom AC had broken down under the heat's assault. Oh, we got a flashback. Ugh, today's so friggin' cold. Cicadas won't last long at this rate. Nene, chiru. Let's do nabe for lunch. Nabe. Gotta warm yourself up inside and out. I love how they kind of incorporate the characters' like various speech patterns. Machina, like with the whole like casual slurs. Oh, Machina has some good ideas now and then. What on earth? Who knows? Perhaps their brains have boiled. Boiled, you say? I know, right? Hot pot in school sounds pretty cool, yeah. Yeah. Your wisdom took me by surprise. Alright then, Sachi. I'll leave preparing the nabe set to you. Yes, with pleasure. Just kidding. As if you could find stuff for hot pot in this season. Huh? Sachan? Where did she run off to? She went to gather things for nabe, presumably. No way! I mean, we were just kidding around, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not like she could just pull something like that out of her hat on a moment's notice. I seem to remember hearing her accept the request with pleasure. Are we about... That's kind of... How does she do that? Now that you mention it... She really did accept. At first, everyone was skeptical. I love, like, the effect they have on the voice, like it's supposed to be dramatic. But when Sachi finally returned at the end of 4th period, having skipped class entirely... It's like a horror story. And then she returned with the chisel! For real? She comes back with a hot pot set, the ingredients, and this adorable runny nose! That said, the nabe was really freaking good. Was it? You started throwing in candy and stuff, so by the end it was a pretty bizarre mix. Hey, Peanut Gallery! Don't just ignore my passionate storytelling! Oh, I get that feeling. I love telling stories, and if people are just like looking at their phones and shit, it gets so annoying. Incidentally, if I said I wanted nabe right now, would you be able to prepare things like you did before? Yes, I would, but... With a small nod, Sachi moves her gaze to the locker behind us. I see. Seems like you really might be more versatile than a Swiss Army knife. My point is, what should you say around Sachi? Got it? She takes everything totally literally. Yeah. Alright, Sachi. Let's change things up this time. Get together the ingredients for flowing Somen noodles. Yes, certainly. Huh. An instantaneous response even here. Hey, you! Did I not warn you literally like 5 seconds ago? Look what you've done now! Sachi's already left! He asked for ingredients, so I suppose it's the supermarket this time. Or maybe the dorm kitchen. Not a problem. I really do want to try this. So why flowing Somen? You said it yourself earlier, didn't you? It's hot today, so I thought a cool meal would be best. What's up with that? It's not like I'm gonna thank you just because you're being nice to me, got it? A nice tsundere act, Michiru. Aw, I like all these extra scenes. That's so cute. Oh. Okay, this looks about right. With a careful check of the bamboo flume that makes up the small canal, I've confirmed that the water is flowing smoothly. Having explained the gist of things to the others, I spent the last 2 periods obtaining the necessary materials and putting together a simple angled bamboo gutter on the roof. Bamboo, not bamboo. I'm hungry. Makina's adorable. A few seconds after lunch break begins, my classmates, excluding Sachi, emerge. What? What's this? The flowing part of flowing Somen, I believe. I know that. I'm asking why it's on the roof of our school. Yuji-kun, did you make this thing? Yeah, there's a bamboo grove within walking distance in the direction of the mountain, so the materials weren't hard to come by. You skip class to collect bamboo in the mountains? This would be the first time I've skipped class, come to think of it. What? You telling me you haven't cut class even once before? Yeah, I suppose you could say that. Huh, that's pretty unusual in this day and age. Also, I used moso bamboo for this thing, but when you're looking to make some more intricate goods like a hamper or a strainer, more flexible Madake bamboo is better suited for the job. If you can tell the differences between the two, it'll come in handy when you're trying to live off the mountains. Keep it in mind. I don't think female students typically need to worry about living off the land. I don't even know if I'd say male students need to, usually. True. Thank you for waiting. Sachi joins us, carrying a large tote bag on her shoulder. Oh! Nice timing, Sachi! Looks like you were able to find what we needed. Yes, I was able to obtain the standard ingredients. Then let's start preparing for the meal. Oh boy. This side seems a little crowded, so I'll be over here. Or so she says. Maybe you just want an upstream position because you're burning with anticipation? Haha. Would you like to find a blade floating in your direction? Let's not, okay? If I ended up eating a box cutter, I think my throat might get a little scratched. You ready, Makibo? Once the noodles slip past these two, we ain't sparing a single strand, got it? You betcha, Captain! After I distribute a pair of chopsticks and a bowl of soup for the noodles to everyone, they take up their desired positions around the bamboo gutter. I've never actually had flowing Somen before. That would be awesome. It's kind of like they basically have water flowing, and the noodles come through the canal, and you pick them up out of the canal. It's really cool. Look it up. I can't do it justice. Look up a picture. It seems like flowing Somen is a rare experience for everyone, not just me. Well then, Miss Sachi, throw us the first pitch, please. Certainly. In response to Michiru's yell, Sachi releases a few strands of Somen noodles into the waterway. There! Catch! Noodles! Tasty! Hey, don't give me that look. Better luck next time, Yumiko. I love her face when she says that. I'll show you. Nay, Amane. Might this be a really bad position? It's fine. Once they start putting a lot in at once, I'm sure some will get past those two. Oops. I love how Makina speaks more English than the others. Okay, Sachi, round 2, please. Well then. Yes. Behold my skill. Are they just not getting to eat? Oh, that sucks. Amane and Makina stir their empty soup bowls with hollow eyes. Because of the intense battle upstream, none of the noodles have reached their lower position. Alright, then we'll just do this. I set up another gutter that I prepared as a spare at the position below Michiru. Sachi, let's get some in this one as well. Certainly. Ah, so this is the Japanese direct train, boss. Thanks, Yuji-kun. No need to thank me. A long time ago, I had it beaten into me not to waste the things that I make. Huh? I glanced to my side, where Sachi is silently floating Somen noodles down the waterway. At this rate, you're not going to get any, Sachi. Alright, I'll secure your share. Scooping noodles directly from the original container, I deposit them in Sachi's bowl. Thank you very much. Ah, that's cheating! Why'd you so cheat? If that's an option, I want Yuji-kun to feed me directly too. A pair of observant hunters are on me in seconds. Hold it. If everyone starts taking noodles directly, it's not flowing Somen. If we did this in my room, I'd be up for letting Yuji-kun try some exclusive sexy Somen, flowing down my body instead of a piece of bamboo. Wow. Just straight up and say it in front of everyone, why don't you? Sexy Somen. Nice ring to it. Hey, Amane! What the heck are you blurting out all of a sudden? I think bribery through feminine wiles should be the most accurate description. I can do that too! I'll break! And all that. Jeez, what is wrong with you two? Michiru definitely has the most, like, obtuse facial expressions, and it's... I don't know how I feel about it. Hey, Komine-san, your hands aren't moving. I'm sorry. Oh, hi, Hi, Principal. I was curious why you suddenly told me you'd be skipping class, but flowing someone on the rooftop of all things? He thinks in interesting ways, as expected from the sudden transfer student character. Alright, just randomly spying on us. Alright, I get it. That's interesting. Alright, we'll do one more little, mini scene, then I gotta get going. I've heard it takes about 3 days to get a cat to take to you. The girl named Irisu Makina got attached to me even faster than that. Yes, this is the same Makina who used to flee the instant she laid eyes on me. I have no idea what changed her mind, but lately it's been quite the opposite, with her approaching me on sight. It's hot again today. Yeah, true. Not that she's particularly talkative. After a small greeting, she tends to just tag along in silence. You want something? Not really. Honestly speaking, getting followed around for no reason like this is a little annoying. That said, there's no reason for me to coldly shoo her away either. You don't need to go to afternoon class? Nope. I don't have any more electives meeting today. Doing Makina's voice is really hard. I see. Yep. In other words, she's probably just bored. The schedule at this school is divided between the core curriculum in the morning and optional courses in the afternoon. It's not rare for a few of my classmates to be lazing around by the vending machines after lunch. If you've got nothing to do, how about going back to the dorm and studying? Is what I'd like to say, but come to think of it, I'm also wandering around wasting my free 5th period. Guess I don't exactly have the right to lecture Makina. Want something to drink? I dig my hand around in my pockets, searching for small change. I've got money. Holding out her right palm towards me to declare it's fine, Makina takes out something that looks like a green, stuffed animal from her pocket. The vaguely frog-shaped thing seems to be a purse, as its red mouth opens wide with the snap of metal bearings. After taking out a few coins, Makina buys a juice box from one of the vending machines lined up in the passage, then returns to my side. Pulling the attached straw free with stubby, clumsy-looking fingers, Makina pierces it into the juice box and starts to slurp up the contents. Similarly, I drink quietly from my paper cup full of oolong tea. It's hot again today. True. Now we're repeating ourselves. Probably evidence that we're both puzzled over how to get a conversation started. Who was it that told me that man has to break the ice in situations like this? Of course, I'm not confident I could pull that off if I tried. What do I talk about with a girl like Makina? Hey, Oni-chan! Got any good stories? Stories? Stories. It's a fairly standard request, but I'm not sure where to go with this. What sort of story? It's hot, so a nice and cool story. Okay, I need to make her voice higher. I know I have a really deep, booming voice oftentimes, but I need to, if I want to actually do voices relatively seriously, and not just, really ridiculously, then I need to, I don't know. I need to figure out how to do those a little bit better. Maybe I should start doing, vocal warm-ups and stuff more so. I've done those before. A cool story. That's a bit tricky. When you're looking for a chilling tale, I think ghost stories are the standard choice. Fortunately, I'm not lacking in that department, a legacy of the time I spent at my old school. Alright then, this is something I heard from an upperclassman at my previous school. This is the story of an American soldier who found himself on a southern island in a night flooded with lukewarm rain. The soldier was making his way south through the darkened jungle amid the pelting downpour, following a native trail with 8 companions. Their objective was an enemy anti-aircraft position. The rain had been falling for 2 days straight, leaving the ground swampy as a paddy field. With the moon hidden by thick storm clouds, the soldiers couldn't even see the back of the comrade walking 2 or 3 meters ahead. The squad's nerves were already worn by the suggestive darkness of the night jungle, but the relentless rain piercing through the tree canopy was slowly sapping their endurance as well. And on top of it all, the rough map they'd received from the scouts was vague to the point of uselessness, good for little but further fueling their anxiety. As the squad trudged on at a virtual crawl through the knee-deep mud, it was inevitable that their formation grew increasingly loose. So the American soldier, a sniper bringing up the rear of the column, was desperately struggling to avoid getting separated from the rest of his unit. Eventually, he heard a distinctive clacking from some distance in front of him, rising above the sound of the rain. He recognized the sound as the castanets the platoon leader carried as a means to communicate at night, or in poor visibility conditions where hand signals were impractical. The number of times he clacked indicated an order to halt on the spot. The man dropped to one knee in the muddy water, grasped his rifle to his breast, and removed the lens cap from his scope, shielding it from the rain. An enemy ambush? Lying flat on the spot, the man pressed his strong eye against the gun's sight. The back of the soldier in front of him came into view. No shots had been fired as of yet. Earlier reconnaissance had indicated there were barely any enemy troops or armed guerrillas in this area. If there were enemies here, the odds were that they were to be scouts, and most likely a fairly small group. As the man rested his chin in the muddy water to watch the jungle ahead, he heard the first sounds of gunfire. The enemy wasn't even 30 meters away from his squad. They'd practically bumped into each other. Okay, epilepsy warning. 6 lines of fire from the enemy position. Just as he'd thought, it seemed to be a small scouting group. Judging from the reckless way they'd opened fire blindly, they were probably poorly trained guerrillas who'd panicked after encountering their enemy under these unusual conditions. Removing his gaze from the scope, the man grasped his weapon and pulled back on the bolt handle, pushing a 7.62mm bullet into the exposed chamber. He quickly returned his dominant eye to the eye cup of his sight. The muzzle flashes visible through the scope burned white after images onto his pupil, fully dilated after his long walk in the darkness. He couldn't see the enemy. Aiming on intuition alone, he squeezed the trigger. A momentary explosion of light from his gun, and he heard an enemy's grunt from the bush some 30 meters away. A hit. The man took his rifle in both hands and began to crawl on his elbows and knees in search of a new firing position. After moving about 10 meters to his left, he discovered a convenient foxhole that would serve his purpose nicely. When he swung his body down into the hole, he found it was half full of stagnant water, just as he'd expected. That fact barely registered in his mind. More importantly, from a position like this, he could snipe while hidden for a time. Sunk to the waist in the muddy water, he mechanically pulled back his rifle's bolt and squeezed the trigger. Again and again and again. All of a sudden, he heard a voice from the next foxhole. Since when it had been occupied? "Hey, give me a grenade!" In response, the man took an M67 grenade from the belt slung around his waist and held it out, the safety pin still fixed in place. A white hand reached out from the nearby trench and received it. "Thank you." The man was certain he heard those words. But no matter how long the man waited, his comrade didn't throw the grenade. Maybe the safety pin was bent somehow and he couldn't get it loose? "Hey, you okay?" As the man was speaking those words, he started to move his head to look above the edge of his encampment. At that moment, the grenade exploded in the next foxhole. Jesus. An explosion at point-blank range isn't something you hear. The overpowering waves of sound aren't recognized by your ears as noise. A mass of burning air struck the man like a wall, knocking the helmet off his head and thrusting his body backwards into the muddy pool. His mouth, thrown open by the explosion, was instantly filled with filthy water. As the man desperately tried to spit it out, he realized his tongue had been knocked back into his throat. He couldn't breathe. Quickly thrusting his hands into his mouth, the man peeled his tongue free with his fingers and powerfully vomited out the water together with the breath that had gathered in his lungs. His throat was burning from inhaling the explosion's scorching wind, and he couldn't stop the tears that were pouring down his face. His head felt like he'd taken a direct hit from a fastball made of concrete, and his ears were filled with a high-pitched ringing. "Hey, you alright? Get it together!" Curled up in the muddy water with his head in his hands, the man heard the voice of a comrade. At least his eardrums hadn't shattered. He felt himself being dragged up out of the foxhole by both arms. "We've got to move! Temporary withdrawal! Can you walk?" It took all the man's effort to nod his head. He couldn't see. His ears were barely functional, and his throat was on fire. He couldn't even speak. The man began to run his hands across the ground in a panic. His comrade knew what he was looking for. The man felt his rifle pressed back into his hands. Reassured by the familiar feel of his weapon, the man slung it onto his shoulder. His hands still clutching to the ground, he fled that place at a crawl. At 30 minutes past... Jeez, this is a long-ass story! What the hell? It's like a straight-up army tale. God. Alright. At 30 minutes past, when the man came to himself, the rain had, ironically enough, finally stopped. His vision had largely recovered. When he looked around, he saw his companions, all just as filthy with mud. "Hey, Shorty, you still alive?" The sniper was still scurrying along the ground when that voice called to him. It belonged to a black man who'd joined the army at the same time as him. They'd been in the same squad in their training days as well, and the black man was his closest friend in the platoon. His greeting was casual as always. "Give me a break." The man reshouldered his beloved rifle and told his friend about the hand grenade accident. That voice from the next foxhole, the grenade he handed over in response, moments later the explosion. The man angrily spat out the details of his brush with death or another stupidity. The black man listened in silence. When the story was over, after a brief pause, he finally spoke. "The hell are you talking about, Shorty?" The black man said his story was impossible. Come to think of it, of course it was. The man was the unit's birdman, the rear guard, the end of the line. Usually the birdman marched 10 to 20 meters behind the squad. There was no way an ally would have been encamped only 2 or 3 meters from his position. Even considering his movements to change his firing position, he couldn't have met anyone until the unit broke into retreat. I mean, let's say you're right and some jackass dropped a grenade on his own foxhole. Okay, who was that? When the man looked around his surroundings, all 8 of the squad's other members were accounted for. A few were lightly wounded, but clearly none of them had been on the receiving end of a grenade blast recently. "So, who the hell did you give that grenade to?" In response to his friend's words, a shiver ran down the man's spine. After rejoining the main force and completing his report, the man told his story to a grizzled veteran. The sergeant major had an explanation of sorts for him. "That place is right around the site of an old battle where many Americans died." Dang, I like the... Sorry to interrupt, but, I like the effects that they have during the story. Like, the gunshot, the fire, smoke, the clicking sounds, all of the visual effects and the audio effects of the story itself. It's just like an off-filler thing, but I love it. Among them were many wounded who'd been cruelly, slowly butchered by guerrillas with spears and bayonets. And some who had reached to the grenades on their waist and pulled out the pin, rather than be tortured to death. Jesus. So in the end, who had taken the man's grenade? Perhaps a lingering spirit, still clinging to the battlefield even in death? Or so the story went. What do you think? Get a bit of a chill? What the heck's wrong with you? I peed myself a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. Forget it. As if I could. I'm gonna cry on the way to the bathroom tonight. My bad. Next time you tell me a story, make it a slightly happier one, okay? Yeah, got it. Machina throws her empty juice box into a trash can and starts to patter away. As usual, she leaves as quickly as she arrives. But this time, after walking about 3 meters, Machina stops on the spot and turns back to me. Hey, Oni-chan! Huh? What? Do you think there's life after death? Life after death? Huh. Can't say for sure, I've never experienced it firsthand. If you believe in it, then maybe there is. In the Army, there's a popular story about an afterlife exclusively for soldiers. It's a story you'll find in the armed forces of pretty much any country, in pretty much identical form. If you believe an afterlife is waiting for you, it will be. I'm sure it's something like that. Gotcha. Thanks. Okay, see you later. With those words, she runs off, this time without looking back. I don't think I said anything particularly interesting, but hearing words of thanks naturally lightens my mood anyway. Drinking up the remaining oolong tea with a gulp, I throw the empty cup in the trash bin and walk off towards our classroom for the 6th period class. And perfect timing. Whew! Alright, well, we got a war story. I'm going to assume that was Yuji, but who knows? That was very interesting. But regardless, that is going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you for your patience and waiting for this episode to come out. I know it's been quite a long while. I'm going to try and get better about that. I'm going to try and send out the videos weekly as I have been before. But, again, thank you so much for watching. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. I will always read them, and I will always take into account. And as always, I will see you guys next time for another episode of The Fruit of Grisaia.